Welcome, everybody, at another episode of the Wrestling vs. the World podcast. If you all enjoying your day, sweet. If not, then what the hell ever. So this was a heel run that I've been thinking of recently, because there are some good memories to it, but certain ones I have to critique. And it's the Undertaker's heel run from 2001 to 2002, a little over 7-month period that we're going over. So let's see how this really was. So we're going to go off of November 26, 2001 Raw, a little over a week after Survivor Series. The invasion's finally over, and Vince wants JR to kiss his ass and everything. He's got Kurt Angle with him. JR's like, by God, I'm not going to kiss your ass. But then Undertaker comes out, he's getting involved in this. He's like, oh, I've been kissing your ass, Vince, for 11 years, and you're degrading JR. And then he turns to JR like, oh, you're going to kiss his ass? Hell no. Oh, is it because you're better than me? Boom, attacks JR, and Undertaker essentially forces JR to kiss Vince's ass. So Undertaker's heel for the first time in about a couple of years, since we really saw him as the Ministry of Darkness Undertaker before he left and all that from injury. So Undertaker's now going in this transition from the American Badass to more Big Evil. Still riding the motorcycle, he's cutting his hair short, and it was also announced around this time that now he's going to be going against RVD for the Hardcore Championship at Vengeance. One of the rare times where The Undertaker's actually going for a non-world or tag team championship throughout his career. I know he had some shout to the Intercontinental title years before, but this is on a different level. So we're going to jump forward a slight bit to Vengeance. December 9, 2001. Hardcore match. Undertaker defeats Rob Van Dam after chokeslamming him off the stage through two tables at the side of the stage to pin him and become the new Hardcore Champion. It was a fine match. Didn't really click the best. I feel like they would have a better match coming up later on that I'm going to get to. But now Undertaker's Hardcore Champion wearing that broken belt. And if I remember something right, it was the next night. Because I'm looking through a cage match to kind of refresh my memory. December 10, 2001, he defeats Spike Dudley in a Hardcore match to once again retain the Hardcore Championship. And I believe this is the one where after the match, Undertaker chokeslams Spike over the top rope straight to the floor. And it was Spike Dudley's idea. Spike, what were you thinking, and how much were you smoking in order to endure this? I legit have to question this. So, now Undertaker is running roughshod, Hardcore Champion. He's going against the likes of Jeff Hardy and Matt and Big Show and all them. But then you get to the Royal Rumble, a night that really makes history here. Because The Undertaker enters this match at number 8. And it lasts almost 8 minutes and gets 7 eliminations here. Rikishi, Goldust, Al Snow, Billy, otherwise known as Billy Gunn, both Hardy Boys, and eventually Maven. But there's a bit of an asterisk there because Maven gets the shock elimination by dropkicking the Undertaker over from behind, dumping over the top, and then Undertaker. The asterisk goes to the fact that Undertaker was eliminated, but he still eliminates Maven afterwards, and then just beats the living hell out of him backstage. So 7 eliminations in almost 8 minutes. That's actually a pretty good one for The Undertaker right there. Kind of a shame he didn't win the Royal Rumble itself, but of course, somebody else has gotta. So this is bringing in a feud with Maven, but he's also at the same time also feuding with The Rock, because The Rock would kind of poke fun at The Undertaker for getting eliminated by the Tough Enough guy. Oh, The Rock says ha 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 and all that nonsense. So 2 feuds going into one, and with Maven, it's going up until just after, just early February 2002, I believe it was February 7th, where he loses the Hardcore Championship to Maven because The Rock gets involved. So now Maven, the tough enough rookie, who's made a name for himself at The Undertaker's expense, is now the new WWF Hardcore Champion. Alright, good way to get the new kid over. Now, one other match I remember here, February 11, 2002 Raw, goes against Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the match ends in less than 5 minutes, ending in disqualification. I'm going to stand on this like I've said for years. Now, in fact, I'll save that statement just for a minute, because there will be another match about these two to justify what I say. But now he's feuding with The Rock, the stuff with Maven's quickly dissipating, and you had the whole moment where The Rock ended up getting hit with a tombstone by The Undertaker on top of the limo. Oh, The Rock's incapacitated for a bit. Now you get to No Way Out, and The Rock defeats The Undertaker, because there was involvement by Ric Flair. So The Rock defeats The Undertaker in about 18.5 minutes. The match was fine, but for me, I feel like their better match was King of the Ring 99. Because these two did not have the best chemistry outside of that one match. This match, it was fine, but it just felt like it dragged on a bit too long, just didn't quite click there. they'll have a better match later on in Vengeance and a triple threat, but I'm not going to cover that because that was after he turned babyface. So now Undertaker is not champion anymore, and he's getting pissed off at Ric Flair because he's the owner of Raw while Vince is owning SmackDown, and he's wanting to face off against Ric Flair at some point. And we saw some of the stuff like where he's beating up on David in the training center and everything, the same training center you would see with some of the Tough Enough stuff. Beats up David in the bathroom and everything, blooding him up and everything. And surprisingly, like, David Flair actually had a match with The Undertaker later on, the March 14, 2002 episode of SmackDown, and The Undertaker actually defeats him by disqualification less than a minute and a half. Good to know you, David. By the way, who's that baby daddy of Stacey Keibler, by the way? Yeah, that's right, you don't know either. So, this is a way of Undertaker getting, like, personal with Ric Flair and everything, and finally, they do have a match brought up at WrestleMania. No disqualification, because the backstage story was that The Undertaker was given a choice. You can either face Ric Flair at WrestleMania or Rob Van Dam, and he chose Flair. And that was actually a pretty good choice there. So, these two have a match. It's now no disqualification, and this match was actually really good. Really good. Both men bloody. Arn Anderson getting involved and, like, always delivering the best spine buster in the business, but doesn't defeat The Undertaker. And The Undertaker, he was trying to go for a last ride at the end. Flair collapsed, and instead he gave a tombstone to finish off Flair and now go 10-0 WrestleMania. Because we've got to remember, they weren't really fully touting out that, hey, he's undefeated at WrestleMania, but he showed at the end, counting 10 fingers. That's 10 in a row. Dead Man Inc. So this was the rare time where he actually had a really good match here during this run. So now he wanted to go for the championship Backlash, but so did Stone Cold. So at Backlash, it was going to now be The Undertaker versus Stone Cold, special guest referee being Ric Flair, where the winner is going to get a future shot at the undisputed WWF Championship at Judgment Day. So, because last I checked, The Undertaker was number one contender by defeating Rob Van Dam at one point, but Stone Cold's also number one contender, so we have the match at Backlash. This match went way too long. Alright, clocked in at over 27 minutes. I've seen just so many Undertaker Stone Cold matches. I feel like they only had two really good matches over the years. In Your House, A Cold Day in Hell back in May 97, and SummerSlam 98. This was a match to show that these two do not have the best chemistry, because this match went way too long. The only moments I remember was The Undertaker trying to go for a test of strength, but Undertaker got flipped off by Steve Austin. He's just like, fuck. And then even the only other moment I also remember was that Undertaker, he was jaw-jacking with fans, and fans like, you suck, Undertaker, and Undertaker's just like, your mama sucks. But, yeah, that was the only notable stuff. At the end, Stone Cold had a chair, Undertaker big-booted it back into his face, and Flair counted to 3 and missed Stone Cold's foot being on the rope. So, Undertaker won due to a referee screw-up by Flair, who would see the tape backstage and be like, ah, shit. So, Undertaker, in a pretty bad match, defeated Stone Cold, and now he's getting a shot at the WWF Championship later. So, now, the next pay-per-view I'm just going to quickly talk about a second. Insurrection, the final televised WWF event before the name change. He loses to Triple H, and the only thing you'll probably easily remember from this match is that there are a couple moments where they started to break down the ring. Because, Undertaker got whipped to the ropes, and they kind of collapsed. Triple H, he also got later thrown into the corner, and the top turnbuckle post just busted outwards. So the ring was collapsing underneath both of these men, and Triple H still won. And somehow this main evented the show. I guess Hogan couldn't going over in the UK and defending a title in the main event, and possibly dedicating it to some cancer child. Anyway, so now, a few weeks later, Undertaker is now finally getting his shot at the undisputed title against Hulk Hogan. And you had some of the stuff there where Undertaker said he was going to beat Hogan down like the bitch that he is, and the really fun moment where the Undertaker actually tied up Hogan to the back of his motorcycle and drove off with it, dragging him through the back of the arena. Thank you, Undertaker, for doing that. But now you get to Judgment Day, and it also really shows that these two had no chemistry. Maybe it's based on the bad blood from 1991. I've already covered that before. But The Undertaker defeats Hogan in around 11.5 minutes, and the match was really, really bad. We probably best remember the terrible chokeslam that was done because Hogan just couldn't jump up in time and just get that height. I mean, like, it's probably the one chokeslam worse than the one he gave to Goldberg years later. But Undertaker would cheat and defeat Hogan to become the new undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So, the first man to win the title after the name change and everything. So, Undertaker, Big Evil, is just in for business. Now, the next night, I do remember watching this match, and I was actually pleasantly surprised with how it turned out. The Undertaker, the next night on Raw, May 20th, 2002, he defeated Rob Van Dam to retain the title. Initially, it seemed like RVD had won because the referee had missed the fact that The Undertaker had the rope break during the pin. And then Flair's like, oh no, I'm not letting this screwy finish happen again. Undertaker, you're getting this match restarted right now. And Undertaker would come back to win and retain. It was actually a really good match. One of the few really good matches, like I said, during this period. Now, a little over a week later, I do remember this because I thought this was ironically funny. May 30, 2002 SmackDown. Undertaker defends the title against Randy Orton, who'd only been on the main roster for a couple months. And I remember before this match happened, The Undertaker would do like that cheap type of like babyface defending champion type of promo, being like, oh, I'm going to give this opportunity to this rookie, this up-and-comer, this blue collar, this blue chipper. Kind of like taking the piss out of whenever babyfaces try to do that whole thing. Oh, come and give it your all. This is your shot. Like, I loved, even though Undertaker was heel, he was just taking the piss out of all this just for the fun of it. And he still retained against Randy Orton. If you've never seen that promo, you gotta listen to it because it's unironically funny. Now, I believe it was also after this, he had the whole segment with Dreamer, who was doing the whole just an ordinary guy gimmick, and he was like, oh, drink my tobacco spit, and Dreamer did it. I don't know why. You sick freak. So, now Undertaker is going into King of the Ring 2002. He's working more matches between Judgment Day and King of the Ring compared to between Backlash and Judgment Day and everything. He's had some other matches in here that I'm seeing, like he's defeating Matt Hardy, going against Kurt Angle. But now King of the Ring hits. Going against Triple H, defending the title. And this was possibly the worst match between the two. I'm not going to also try to compare it to that Super Showdown one in Australia, because I still have not seen that match yet, but I've heard criticism about it. But this match was bad. Like, I don't know if it was because like Undertaker or Triple H was dealing with an injury or something, but this match, like, you know it's weird when their Insurrection match, where they were breaking the ring, was better than this match. Like, this match was 23 minutes long, sluggish as hell. The Rock was getting involved in this. That's probably like the highlights of all this. At the end, The Undertaker got a low blow on Triple H, and I think he got a roll up afterwards with the tights to pin and retain the title. Not a good match. And then ultimately at the end, he started to feud with Jeff Hardy a bit, and then at the July 1st, 2002 episode of Raw, he defeats Jeff Hardy in a great ladder match to retain the Undisputed title, then afterwards raised Jeff Hardy's hand after coming back to the ring to raise his hand out of respect and turn babyface. So yeah, this, like, I know Undertaker can like do really good with character work and everything and stuff like this, but the big criticism I have during this run as Big Evil, the Undisputed Champion and all that stuff, is that he did not have that many bright points during this nearly 8-month period. Because like I said, you had some, like, a few really good matches. The match with RVD that I mentioned after, like, back after he won the title at Judgment Day. The, the ladder match with Jeff. The match with Flair at WrestleMania. And that was essentially it. Everything else was alright to just forgettable. It's like so many weird things. Like I said, the match with Stone Cold at Backlash went too long. The match with The Rock, not as good as their match at King of the Ring 99. The match with Hogan was awful. The follow match with Triple H at King of the Ring, just not as good as their previous matches. And it's kind of a shame. Because, like, I don't know what happened here, but, like, a lot of stinker moments for The Undertaker despite this heel run. Like, it's just, I don't get it. Like, I can't put my finger as to what really made this a downfall, like, bid period. Like, he would pick up again, like, having really good matches after, like, turning babyface and everything. Because, like, the match with Brock at No Mercy and everything. The stuff going into 2003 was a little better, like, with going against John Cena at Vengeance and other follow matches and everything. But it's just, like, I don't know what it is with this period, but, like, it was a lot of stinkers. Just, like, it did not feel right. Let me know in the comment section below, what did you think about The Undertaker's heel run that we had here from post Survivor Series 2001 up until the beginning of July 2002. Did you enjoy it or not? Just let me know your thought in the comment section below. If you enjoyed today's episode, folks, please remember, leave a like, subscribe with the bell, turn on if you're watching this on YouTube, and comment like I said. And, yeah, I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for listening, folks. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, and good day, everybody.